Hi, and welcome to Beyond Fear to Freedom podcast. I'm Debbie G, the founder, and this is Sheridan, my VP of Making Things Happen. Hey, we've been talking about safe people, and we were going to say that we're going to be starting to talk about boundaries, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Let me show you. Boundaries. It's backwards to you, but it ain't to us. Okay? and how we're going to start with that is it's a progression from pride to codependency, and then the opposite of that is to learn what it is to build healthy boundaries.
Well, pride, insecurity, codependency, and then no boundaries.
Yeah, and so back in the day, I didn't even know what a boundary was.
No.
It was just like, as a caregiver and a codependent, I didn't have any boundaries. And in our family, that's pretty much what was expected. There were no boundaries.
Right.
There were walls, but there were no boundaries.
Yeah.
And once I started to understand what boundaries were and that I needed them, because I didn't know what they were, and I didn't think I needed them because I didn't know what they were. But once I had revelation of boundaries, that was a game changer for me, a game changer for my life, and probably one of the most uncomfortable places I had ever been was to start to create healthy boundaries.
Because when you have no boundaries, you're a people pleaser, right? So it's a yes to everybody. It's an overextension of yourself all the time. You're drowning all the time or majority of the time. But you have no idea how to say no to take care of yourself and make your space and your direction safe and secured. So as a total, I think I'm going to always be in recovery for people pleasing and codependency because it rises up all the time. I relapse all the time,
and that's okay.
That is okay. But it was a game changer for me too, to learn how to find my voice, have a voice, share my voice, and maybe be fearful or not be fearful of the other person rejecting me or conditionally loving me. That's scary.
And I think when we're brought up with conditional love, which I was, if you do that, then I will not withhold love to you. Right? But if you didn't, then I will withhold love. That the idea of saying no and being rejected was, I never wanted to say, I could never say no.
It's devastating.
Because when your own family rejects you, you're like, that's a horrible feeling, right? And so I didn't start using boundaries until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And so I was just saying yes to everybody and thought I was the one in control of my yes.
Right.
And not recognizing I had zero control.
You're giving it all away to that other person. You just here, you can have all of me.
I'm in control of me, but I'll let you be in control of me. That's basically what we were saying.
It's codependency.
And so doing boundaries was very, 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 very scary for me. And so we want to walk you through that process, because without having safe and secure boundaries, you will drown. You will drown in your insecurities and your codependency, and you will not experience the good life that God has for you. And that's our goal with these podcasts.
Yeah.
Is to help you understand that God has good plans for you, but we have to be willing to abide under certain things to be able to experience that. And our goal is to speak truth and to encourage you to continue to fight that good fight so that you can receive the abundant life that God has for you, because He does have that for you.
It's real.
So, when you're setting up personal boundaries, and that's what you need to do, and then when we are creating our own boundaries, we need to understand that other people have theirs as well. And so we have to be willing to not only say, I have boundaries, but we need to be willing to adjust or to at least acknowledge other people's boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's three types of boundaries, okay? There are rigid boundaries, and what these boundaries do aren't really so great, because what they do is they avoid intimacy. It's like, or it could be for someone that you know is a unsafe person.
Right.
So your boundaries at first are very rigid. It's like, this is a no. I don't trust you. I'd like to trust you, but I don't trust you. So this is my boundary right now. And if I can trust you in this boundary, then maybe I'll invite you into a more intimate space.
Right. Absolutely right. There's these, but a lot of times in the beginning of it, they are walls.
They are. They're huge.
They're a very, 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 very tall
because
walls.
we don't know how to do it. So we'll just say, I'm going to make a boundary. And you can't cross my boundary. So there's two different types of rigid boundaries.
It keeps people out, like completely out.
Yes, and we have to understand, I'm glad you brought that up, that boundaries are not really to keep people out, it's to keep you safe.
To keep you safe, fortified, and directed.
Yep, that's it. All right. So the other one is insecure boundaries. And this is where we're not really sure about how we're supposed to do it. So we overshare our personal stuff. Because
you're looking for approval, you're looking for acceptance, you're people pleasing, you just want to be loved.
I'm trying.
You just want to be loved. So things just fall out of your mouth. And even the whole time you're doing it, you're like, I probably shouldn't be sharing this. Stop.
And the person are probably eye rolling already, like, oh my gosh, would you shut?
Your insecurity is on blast for the world to see. That's the boundaries.
It's the FOMO of insecure boundaries. Right? Your fear of missing out. Did I say everything? Okay.
You have a fear of rejection, totally. So you just go above and beyond.
And then the one that is really the one we're striving for is healthy boundaries. And this is one that we'll eventually learn how to do. And that is looking at the appropriate person in your life and then creating healthy boundaries. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is being in control of your own calendar. Because
organizing your time and where your energy is spent.
Yes. So for me, it was like I had to say to myself, I need Sundays to be just this. That's it. Now, yes, there are emergencies that come up, but Sundays are my personal day.
Yes.
That's my day for church. That's my day for fellowship. That's my day to just do what I want to do.
Yes, I like that. I'm going to back it up a little bit because I think that's like, like I want this, but then for me, I have to back it up and say, okay, but why do I want that? Why is that valuable to me? Why is that important to me? Why do I care about that? Why do I deem that as worthy? And I want to do things to protect that. And then my actions or decisions should be in line with that.
That's super great because because back in the day, the only person who was in charge of my calendar was work and everybody else. What everybody else's needs or wants were.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's like, nope, we're not going to play that game anymore. And so Sundays are important to me because, well, Monday through Friday is work and oftentimes Saturday as well because Saturday is the home day, chores, making food for the week, all of those kinds of things. So the only day that I have to really be in fellowship with people with no expectations except to show up and be present is on Sunday. And I love my church. I love going to church and, maybe breakfast. And it's just that Sabbath day for me. It's that Sabbat day. It's just a day of rest and sweet fellowship. And that's what I do.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that's valuable to you because you get renewed, you get refreshed. And again, you can't give away something you don't have. So if you show up to life depleted, you're struggling there. Everyone else is going to struggle around you.
And see, if we don't have boundaries, we don't recognize that we are depleted because we let everybody else suck the life out of us. And then we wonder why we're tired or why we're frustrated or why we're unhappy or why we're depressed.
Right.
So if you have any of those kind of symptoms in your life,
exhausted,
or you don't have good relationships,
you can't make good decisions because it's going down like in my moving story.
Or whatever your addiction is, if it's, you're always using your addiction to keep going, like if you're a coffee addict or a cocaine addict or a shopaholic or retail therapy, just so that you feel better so that you can keep going. So recognizing that.
So your behaviors and your decisions should be in alignment with your belief, always. So if you have your values and your beliefs, then the fruit and all the branches and everything, right? Like in our tree here, they should fall in alignment with that and direct you, keep you in that direction with those boundaries and those goals.
And what's important then is that once you recognize why those days are of value to you, is that you need to let other people know why that's a value to you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said, okay, we have to figure out why and see if that meets our thinking processes.
Can I share a story on that? So I was journaling and really kind of organizing my life and my transition out to Georgia, which I'll already be there by the time we do this. But like, what is my goal? What is my overall, what do I want to happen in this, for this? What is the reason? And, you know, to make myself available to my children, to be there for them and with them, not just by them.
Yeah, you know, I'm
them.
so glad you brought that up, because what a great story to share. And we may have to do a couple of the boundaries ones just so that we can share our personal impact stories about that. Because I remember when Dennis and I moved here, and the reason we moved here was because God had called us from Chicago to live here. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I was looking for a job. And I know this is going to be something that you and I had talked about regarding your move to Georgia.
Yes.
And so I had found a job that I knew would be great. I would love it. It would be great for me. I would be able to give to this company and they would meet my needs as well. But one of the things that they did is they said you had to work weekends and you had to work holidays. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you know, it meets all the criteria that I have for here, but I don't know what to do this. I don't know what to do this. And so it was funny because as Dennis and I were praying, he goes, really, do you think that God would want you to take a job that takes you away from the very reason you were coming here? Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, thank you for pointing that out, because I didn't even think of that. Now, with him saying that, it was an easy decision that I never regretted. It's like, no, this is not the position for me, because it would have just really walked all over the reason I was doing it.
And
same thing for you.
Yes, even after our that conversation and even my further processing and kind of organizing what that looks like, I rearranged my whole priority thing. Because I had my relationship with God, my relationship with myself and self-care, and then I had community needs, and then I had my children. I'm like, hold up, this is wrong. This is not in the correct order. So I switched 3 and 4.
Yes.
And I was like, jobs and community needs, not, because I still have a community here.
Right. Always will have.
Always. But the things that I was looking for to fill my time and make myself feel valuable and fun and, you know, I'm going to join 7 choirs and I'm going to do all these things. I had to rearrange that. And any opportunities or anything that would come my way, I have to pair them up with my ultimate goal. Is this going to create availability for my children, or is it going to put them and myself and God on the back burner before I make any of those decisions? That was huge for me the other day.
And I'm so grateful that you allowed me to speak into that space, and we feel very safe in doing that with one another, because she had received a job offer for full time in Georgia, and I'm thinking,
good pay, amazing. I'm like, yay! And then I'm like, hold up,
right?
And I already feel like if I'm fleshing this out and playing this tape forward, I already know I'm gonna be spread thin. I'm gonna be freaking out. I'm gonna be not available for my kids.
And of course, the job said, "Oh, well, we can work around it." No, they're not going to work around it. Really, in all reality, though they may say that and may try to, the likelihood of a full-time position is going to demand full-time position.
Yeah,
I remember when I started a job which was supposed to be part-time. It never really was part-time. It started as part-time, but it never stayed that because the needs were so great. And
then to take that further, when every time I'd have a rebuttal, or not a rebuttal, but like, well, I really don't want to do this. Well, we can make that happen. We can fix that. I'm like, and I was like, okay, but this doesn't feel good and feel safe, and I'm not liking this. And well, we can help and change that. And I'm like, okay, I straight up told the man, I said, look, my people pleasing, I'm trying to not let that rise up, because it's a little bit rising up right now. But no, I just, as much as I don't want to say no is a good and healthy decision and boundary for me, because that is keeping me safe and directed.
And I think what was really important is the fact that you and I have such a close relationship that I know the reason why you're going out there. Mm-hmm. And we've had these conversations about what your needs are and things like that. And then when you shared with me that you had this opportunity, my red flags came straight up saying, this impedes the reason why you're moving there. You're not moving there to create a career for yourself.
Yeah.
You're moving there to be in relationship and build relationship with your boys.
That's so different for me because I'm such a human doing, and I like results, and I'm a producer. And so now my paradigm is capsizing, and which is amazing, right? It's now about relationships. It's now about boundaries and all this other stuff. And it's a little bit scary because I don't know what I'm doing completely. It's not a secure position, but it's cool that I'm able to voice that out to my safe people, my A team, and be like, okay, I'm going to need, and to allow myself time to be regulated and settle instead of, probably back in the day, I would move and have this huge transition and be like, okay, I got to find a job. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to be busy. I got to feel valued and worthy.
And productive,
and
like
productive,
I'm doing something.
And oh my gosh, and I would get all crazy. And I'm allowing myself to not be that way. Still have my bills paid and those things, but the needs get taken care of and not the wants.
Yeah, and it's such a change in the way we live life.
So different.
So when
and so
I
free.
finally got that, because I remember that same type of transition for myself, something different, but very similar process. And you'll go through similar processes too. It was like God showed up in the biggest way to say, this is part of the good plans that I've always had for you. Thank you for taking a step in that unsafe, insecure place that you feel that I know is good for you. And the people around you that love you, that care about you, that are safe, that have watched your journey will always encourage you in that, what did we say? Safe people will make you closer to God.
Yes.
And that's what they're doing, and help you to be what God has called you to be, and so those kinds of things. So as we talk about boundaries, we really want you to sit back and kind of think about, oh my gosh, I need to think about, first of all, do I have boundaries? And if I don't, why not?
What are you even, like, literally draw it out even. 2 years ago, I had to draw it out. Like, what am I even protecting? What direction am I going? What are my beliefs and my values?
Yeah, you have to, like,
so I
thread that out.
Then you can flesh out the boundary and be able to protect that and stay directed. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. And be okay in that position.
Yeah, when I first heard about boundaries, I wasn't saved. I went to a class that my company had put me through. And the simple question was, if you continue doing what you're doing exactly the way you're doing it today, what is your life going to look like in 5 years? And that terrified me because my life would be the very same thing. And I, if I was honest with myself, did not like where I was in my life.
If not deteriorated.
Yes.
So either the same or going down, and not growth and development.
Because when we don't have boundaries, we lose ourselves, we lose all of our energy, and we're lost in oblivion somewhere.
Totally. The wind's just blowing you around, whatever.
And that is not, even as an unbeliever, God got my attention back then to say, you need to make some changes now.
Yeah.
His grace is so good. His mercy is so good.
It is. Here's a good question. We did this boundaries class for our community over the summer, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And the facilitator, the very first question on the very first day was, so what makes you not have boundaries? Like, what's behind that? And the answers in the room were like, oh, I don't want to be mean. Oh, it's not Christ-like. Oh, I'm just trying to be super giving. And that is a very, very fine line between insecurity and codependency.
Yes.
And really, really, again, giving and loving. I don't want to not love people. If I say no, that's not loving and that's not Christ-like. And that's a myth. That's a lie.
I'm getting a little nauseous
lie.
just hearing her say that because, oh my gosh, all those excuses and justifications were mine.
Yes.
At one point, but not anymore. I'm super happy about the way my life has been going. So
Totally.
If this has kind of spoken to you, really, it's backwards to you, but it's not to us. This is the Boundaries book by Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend.
They're so
You should run out and get this.
They wrote
book.
about safe people too.
Yes, they wrote Safe People as well. We trust and believe what they've written. So we're going to get ready to close up, but what is God speaking to your heart right now regarding boundaries? Are there whistles and red flags showing up everywhere? If so, God is trying to get your attention.
Yes.
If there is just a quickening in your spirit, you're going to have to really get before the Lord and ask Him, show me, just
Amen.
show me. Be real with yourself about why you do what you do. Because God really wants you to enjoy a refreshed, regenerated, abundant life. And the only way to experience that is to understand the healthy boundaries that He has for you and for you to start acting on those. And you want to be in relationships with other people who also not only respect your boundaries, but also you respect theirs as well. So much going on in the world today regarding boundaries, people walking all over everybody's thoughts and boundaries right now. And so let's take a time for pause to really understand why we do what we do. Thanks for joining us. We'd love for you to join us live and in person at First Christian Church. Friday nights, 5:30, doors open up with eats. And then the party gets started at about 6:15. If you can't join us live and in person, we'd love to see you on Subscribe Tribe. Go to our website and go to the Subscribe Tribe, fill that info, and then you'll be invited into our virtual community and get the lesson as well. Well, thank you for joining us today regarding boundaries. We hope that the Lord has spoken to you. Know that you are loved and that He has good plans for you. Thanks for joining us. See you later. Bye. 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 Bye.
See ya.
Bye. See ya.
Love you.
Bye. Yes, we love you.
There is freedom.